So what can you expect from the class in week 2 on the Ascension course? Well, I always start the class with a quick check from the week before, because there's so much information that I actually share in a class that you receive the information and the frequencies and all the downloads in the class. Obviously, you can read the handout. Last week's week 1 would have been about 19 pages, and this one's about 20 pages. And there's a lot to take in, but I always say that I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. I'm actually telling you things that you are just remembering. I'm talking to your soul, and your soul knows this. Your soul knows more than my soul. It's just you've forgotten. And so I do start each class with a quick check, and it's just a little bit of a recap from the week before, because if there is anything that you don't understand, then it's a perfect opportunity for you to say, can you tell me more about this? Okay, so week 2 really starts with focus. Focus on your ascension, reminders that reinforce what is important right now. And so I channel every time I update the handouts. And so I also make sure that they're relevant. So if there are things going down in Truth the News or the world in general, I will have channeled some information from Spirit, from Ascended Masters or the angels, and I will share that with you. So we then move on to the superhuman powers, the human superpowers. And these are the things that have been turned off. These are naturally our powers. But the powers that be on the planet at the moment, who are not going to be here for very much longer, are great geneticists. Put my teeth back in, and they have been able to turn off our DNA to be able to control us. And so once we realize this, and we're getting all of these beautiful light codes coming in and help from the higher vibrational light beings, then we can develop our superhuman powers. So I talk through them all just briefly, because obviously we'll talk about them in detail in other weeks. So we're looking at things like compassion and empathy, discernment, telepathy, cognition, reasoning, imagination. That's played down a lot because it's part of your creativity and one of the keys to being a master creator. Intention, being able to use your third eye and your intuition, your psychic awareness, the ability to time travel, the ability to space travel. Not that I'm telling you I can do that, because I wouldn't be here right now. This beautiful place on the planet, I'm sure I'd be. But anyway, we can access parallel dimensions. You live on many dimensions as a soul. And so we look at that. We look at remote viewing. We can even look at levitation. Again, not a chance. Not just yet anyway. Teleportation, and we look at telekinesis. Again, I can't do them, but I do know all about them because I've channeled this information. And who's to say I won't be able to do them when I'm teaching? You know, we're all ascending so quickly, and my personal powers have been enhanced quickly, just like the people who've already done the course. So I'm not saying I can't do it ever, just not today. So we look at your personal powers, and so we make lists and things, or I ask you to do it after the class. And then we look at discernment, because right now we need to be able to discern. We need to be able to see and resonate the truth. We need to know what is truth, because there's a lot of mistruth and misinformation, disinformation. They've all got silly names. They're just lies. Yeah, and there's a lot of corruption and deception, and we need to be able to see through it. So we even talk about dowsers and muscle testing and things. We also talk about avoidance. Are you avoiding any kind of topic of conversation? Are you avoiding your ascension? Is there anything at all that you could be avoiding dealing with? Yeah. We wake up to your power. So we talk about how can we wake up to my powers? Or what do I do if I see something and I should do something about it? How do I go about it if I don't really want to? I don't think I explained that very well. Come to the second class, you'll understand it completely. I also talk about the dark side with a small d. Not worried about the dark side. In fact, I don't think there's many members of the dark side left. But we're talking about the deep state, the cabal, and we talk about how to avoid creating loosh, just for an example. So that's what we talk about there. We talk about vibrating higher, shining brighter, and that's when we start looking at the laws of the universe. Now, there's 47. So I don't want to do them all at the same time because that's just too dry. And so I pepper them throughout the course. And we start with the law of responsibility, and then we look at the law of perspective, then the law of reflection, because as an empath, a starseed, or a light worker, you are a mirror. So as we look at the law of reflection, we then look at the law of projection. Okay, I'll not go into any detail there because it can get a little bit confusing, but it's perfect to know because it actually starts to explain other people's reactions to you. It also allows you to see when you're reacting, where you need to heal, but also it's part of your job as an empath. I'll then give you a quick quiz, and I'll not tell you why because that'll ruin the surprise. And then we look at third dimensional compassion compared to 5-dimensional compassion or higher vibrational compassion because it's different. And then we will look at how we have compassion with others compared to how we have compassion with ourselves and how powerful compassion can be. We look at those who are not working from their higher selves. And we also, again, look at the dark side in relation to our souls and living life from the higher self. Then we have another quick quiz, but this time it's about your sacral chakra. So let's just ask you a few things. Do you worry about your safety? Do you dislike change and prefer things to stay just as they are? Do you always seem to end up with the crappy end of the bargain? Do you feel the need to control others or situations? Would you say you're not very creative, or do you doubt your decisions? Do you have addictions? So there's lots more questions where they came from, but then I break down how you would expect to live your life with a balanced sacral chakra. So that's the one that's just behind and just below your belly button. And also I do detail behaviors and feelings and thoughts relating to blocked and unbalanced sacral chakras, and then I give you some quick healing fixes. So for example, bicarnelian or sleep with citrine, something like that, affirmations, essential oils, and then we finish with permanent healing methods. And I also mention frequencies just briefly because we talk about them in a great deal of detail later. And I mention Archangel Gabriel. Why wouldn't I? I love him so much. His feminine aspect is Lady Hope, and he can help you to balance your sacral chakra. And that concludes week 2.